Yeah, that feeling was pretty unbelievable, just to come on first season and to kind of contribute as much as I did, and help out the guys. That felt really cool. Definitely a big difference from my freshman year when I was really just like a defensive replacement, kind of like a pinch runner. So, moments like that, you talk about like the regionals, it kind of makes you look back and think about like all the hard work you did and kind of see it pay off feels pretty nice. Yeah, junior year was pretty frustrating. Coming off sophomore year, a nice outbreak year, and you put a lot of expectations on yourself, and other people put a lot of expectations on you too. And to not be able to produce in the way I thought I was going to produce was a little frustrating. But mainly that year I just had a lot of issues with my timing. It was just never consistent. I would never really get into a groove. One game I would go 3 for 5, and then the next 2 games I would go a combined like 1 for 9. So it was just really just a frustrating year, just of not being able to be consistent. So me and I talked that we both kind of agreed that I was a little bit too passive my junior year. Having a good sophomore year, the other teams, because we play the same teams almost year after year, kind of get familiar with who the hitters are, who the hitters aren't. And it was kind of tough for me to make an adjustment to how the other teams were adjusting to me. So one of the things that we came up with was I was just being a little bit too passive. Typically, I'm an aggressive hitter, and I like to go get that, first pitch fastball, 1-0, 2-0 fastball. And I was just really passive last year for whatever reason. So I think, this year I've kind of made an adjustment to kind of eliminate that. You always want to get off to a good start. I think, especially coming out of Florida, it's always important that guys, are where you want to be, because everyone sets their own goals for themselves, where they want to be after Florida, where they want to be at, this point of the season. And I think by getting off to a hot start, it kind of simplifies everything else, because, you get off to a bad start, you start to overthink things, overanalyze things. So getting off to a hot start, it's definitely, I guess, where I would want to be right now. But it's also important to note that we're only about like 13 games into the season, and we got a ton more games left. So I gotta just continue to be doing what I've been doing at the plate, and hopefully I can keep the numbers up. Egbert always says we have the potential to be a really dynamic offense, and by that I think he means 1 through 9. Not necessarily, we don't have like the big boppers, hitting 8, 10, 12 home runs. But I think 1 through 9, we got a lot of guys that can, hit for extra bases, doubles, triples, and definitely a dangerous lineup when we can activate the run game. I think we got a lot of guys that can, run the bases really well, and I think, that in its own way kind of puts a different kind of pressure on the opponent. You're not really having, guys hitting home runs all the time, but if you got guys on base that are always, threats to steal, that can mess with the pitcher a little bit. So maybe offensively, we get a couple more, slide step fastballs down the middle that the pitcher just makes a mistake on, or, the pitcher just gets uncomfortable and he starts walking hitters. So it's kind of us as a lineup trying to embrace like a different way to score runs, because, you don't just have to hit the home runs. We can do things a lot of different ways.